Welcome to Good Sir Strategies, where making enjoyable, theme-based, and balanced builds is the priority. We will bring each unique build into the forefront by focusing on its skills, nodes, gear, and playstyle. Are you looking for access into the empowered Monolith? Then this build will have you covered. The goal is to always create builds that can tackle the endgame, which is 100 plus corruption. Today I'll be showcasing the Divine Support Paladin. The build is at a level 100 and is sitting at 100 Monolith corruption. I wanted to prove that a support build can be just as strong as any other in-game build. In this video, we'll be looking at the how to play summary, gameplay footage, skill explanation, viewing of passives, going up against some empowered bosses, and the test dummy stats. If you are interested in a certain part of the video, for ease of access, everything is timestamped in the description below. The level 100 full build guide is listed in the description and is also linked as a pinned comment underneath. Now let's explore this build. As you walk across the battlefield, you will eventually run into enemies. When meeting the enemy head-on, slam down Judgment and stand within its healing circle. Depending on the enemy, put down a few more Judgments. When it comes to generic mobs, one hit will do the trick. Once your mana becomes low, cast Holy Aura and then spam Smite until your mana is raised back to near full. When fighting close range, Smite should never be used if there is no consecrated ground underneath you. Rinse, lather, and repeat. Rebuke is used for boss battles, and Healing Hands procs off of your physical and spell attacks, while also being your movement skill. If done correctly, you should always be healing one way or another. Judgment is the main attack for this build. In order to make this skill a main attack, its cooldown must be removed. To remove the cooldown, place a point in Urgent Inquisition. However, by placing a point into this node, it creates a new problem: drastic mana consumption. Since Urgent Inquisition and Pious Offering are eating up the mana, let's lower the mana cost with Swift Verdict. Sadly, speccing into Swift Verdict is not enough to balance out the mana cost, so other outside forces will need to be used to fully remedy this situation. Judgment's true healing and attack power lies in increasing healing effectiveness. Prophesized Immolation is an unavoidable attack that uses healing effectiveness to increase the fire damage. With 819 healing effectiveness, the fire damage skyrockets. Judgment's other ways to cause damage are Flaming Soul and Purifying Flame. In order for Purifying Flame to trigger, it needs Ignite. Plenty of Ignite can be located in the node next to it, called Sacred Sword. Judgment's physical hits and spells are greatly enhanced by Purifying Flame. The initial punch of Judgment will trigger healing via Healing Hands, followed by layers of continual healing from Consecrated Grounds, Sanctified Serenity, and Holy Eruption. The idea is that there should be no downtime for healing. Ailments can be a problem if they aren't addressed. No matter how much a paladin heals, a good stack of bleed could still wipe out the health bar if it isn't managed. The good news is that Holy Eruption assists with the removal of ailments on you and allies, so place 1 point into Cleansing Light to remove all ailments. Smite is the secondary attack for this build. It is also the main way to correct the loss of mana caused by Judgment. Normally Smite costs mana, but putting points into the node Soothing Balm and the passive node Time and Faith will make this skill essentially free. Not only that, but this will allow the paladin to gain extra mana quickly while casting Smite. When being compared to Judgment, Smite is weaker in regards to healing and attacks. One way to boost Smite's damage is with Judgment. As stated earlier, Judgment's hits gain Ignite from Sacred Sword. Smite gets a huge boost in damage from those Ignites via Conflagration. There is a short window of time after Judgment is used for Smite to gain damage off of Sacred Sword. so stand within a consecrated ground for healing while gaining that buff. Sure, Smite could have 100% chance ignites with Holy Fire, but that 1 point is needed elsewhere. Righteous Fury helps with the speed of your Judgment and Smite attacks. Similarly to Judgment, Smite has its own way to cleanse ailments via Panacea. Finally, put points into Pillars of Light. The reason for this is the more Smites firing in unison, the more healing and the more damage output. A support class needs a support skill, right? Healing Hands creates the perfect support for Judgment and Smite by implementing additional layers of healing and extra damage. In order for Healing Hands to assist those skills in this manner, invest into Cleric's Hammer and Hands of Aurelius. Due to the amount of mana being consumed in this build, we need to lower Healing Hands' mana cost. Luckily, Healing Hands can cost 0 mana if using Purity of Thought and Blessed Perish. Maxing out the healing effectiveness of Prayer of the Fallen will increase the damage output of Bane of Evil. By having a tiny bit of ward generation, the Paladin is allowed a split second of time in between hits to recharge his health. To gain this ward, put points into Divine Barrier and Synthesis of Light. Ward is also gained by blocking enemy attacks via Cradle of the Erase. It will appear as though the Paladin isn't gaining any ward, but it is there for a brief second and it is doing exactly what it is called to do. The Paladin is really looking great now, but he is still missing a movement skill. Place 1 point in Raya's Chariot so the Paladin can gain that movement and rush through enemy mobs to rescue his teammates. In this build, Holy Aura only focuses on 2 things, defense and healing. For defenses, there is block effectiveness from Mighty Shield, elemental resistance from Shelter from the Storm, and ward from Faith and Against the Odds. For health, spec into Vital Boon and Redemption. Cleansing from Purification isn't needed since the Paladin cleanses ailments with both Judgment and Smite. Rebuke is usually saved for combat with bosses. When a boss begins to charge a one-shot attack, get the Paladin's Rebuke ready. This skill can handle all the one-shot mechanics from bosses, but only by using the nodes listed within this build. In order to survive a one-shot attack, Rebuke needs an extended duration. To achieve this, spec into Bide. An extended duration is not the only factor for survivability. To outlast a powerful boss attack, an additional charge is needed, so spec into Stoic Challenge. When one charge is used up, as long as the button is held down, Rebuke will move on to the second charge. For health regeneration, spec into Regenerative Shell. For defenses, go after Augmented Plating and Brave the Elements. Finally, to extend the time frame of these last 2 defensive nodes, select Protective Legacy and Solemn Vow. Bide is essential for Protective Legacy because it further extends the use of Augmented Plating and Brave the Elements for a few more seconds outside of Channeled Rebuke. You will be on the hunt for nodes that boost your attunement, increase healing effectiveness, increase armor, increase mana regeneration, health, and block effectiveness. If you would like to swap out some skills for those of your choosing, there are 3 points in Faith armor that could be placed elsewhere. Time and Faith is needed for Smite and help make it a free cost skill. Rebuke has 2 charges. You can withstand any huge generating attack from a boss. When you see the boss animation charging for a huge attack, then hold down the key binding of Rebuke, and don't release the key until the enemy's one-shot hit has passed. Of course, the higher into Corruption you go, the less Rebuke will be able to withstand the enemy's one-shot. However, I have used this skill at 200 Corruption with only a small chink of my health bar taken away. Note: make sure to have a consecrated ground underneath you while using Rebuke.
corruption. The void cleanses all. I am undying. Break before me. I am undying. Break before me. Cannot hurt me. Break before me. You cannot hurt me. Break before me. You cannot hurt me. Break before me. I am undying. Break before me. I am undying. Break before me. You cannot hurt me. Break before me. You cannot hurt me. I am undying. Oh, parsley to Alberos.
Comment, like, share, and subscribe if you appreciate these builds. And as always, enjoy the build, enjoy the experience. Wherever you take it from here is up to you.